The handstand push-up is just one of those moves where you just stop and stare when you see someone doing it, and you might even be thinking, whoa, I really wish I could do something like that. And I'm here to tell you in this video, you can, and in just 3 steps, I'm gonna show you how. So I'm gonna take you from just being able to do a couple of handstands and a couple of push-ups to put those 2 things together and be able to push the whole world down with your newly acquired shoulder strength. Firstly, the requirements. Of course, to learn the handstand push-up, we need to be able to do a handstand, but we don't need to do a perfectly pin straight handstand for a minute long. All we need is a decently straight handstand for say 5 to 10 second holds. So if you can do that, you can work and perfect your handstand while still learning the handstand push-up. Of course, the better you get at the handstand, the better you're also going to get at the handstand push-up. The second requirement, but it's not a necessity, is the bent arm handstand hold. If you're able to do this movement and hold it for about 6 to 10 seconds, this is really going to help with your handstand push-up progression. Straight into it, guys, we're going to start off with the form. As you guys know, on this channel, we always start off with the form, so you guys know exactly what the movement should be looking like and what muscles you should focus on and think about while in the movement. So when performing a handstand push-up, we kick up into as straight as a handstand as we can, and we gain our balance first. This is important that we gain our balance first, so we're stable before we start the movement. So now that we're in as straight as a handstand as we can get and we're stable, we're now going to tense our lower body. So we're going to contract our quads and point our toes. This is going to help us keep even more stable as we descend into the bottom of the handstand push-up. So to descend into the bottom of the handstand push-up, we're going to bend our arms as we do so, and we're going to use our triceps and our tricep strength to control the movement. So we're not going to dive bomb down towards the floor, we're going to control this movement as we move down. As we move down, we're going to keep our elbows pointed back behind us. So we're not going to flare our elbows out, we're going to keep our elbows pointed behind us. This is very important for the handstand push-up. So as we come down, we're also going to be at a 45-degree angle. So as you can see, I'm not perpendicular to the floor, I'm not coming straight down, up and down. I'm actually going at a slight angle where my head comes in front of my hands, and I make a kind of triangle with my head and my hands. So once you've hit the bottom of the handstand push-up, and you'll know you've hit the bottom of the handstand push-up because your forearm and your upper arm will make a 90-degree angle. So as you can see on screen, my arm makes a 90-degree angle. So I know I've hit the bottom of the handstand push-up on the floor. So after this, I can hold it for maybe a second, then push, use my triceps, contract my shoulders, my triceps, everything, push against the floor, and then push up back into that perfectly straight handstand, fully extending through the shoulders to make sure I'm reaching that straight handstand. So now that we've learnt the form, we're this much closer to learning that sick looking move. The only thing we have to do now is learn the progressions. Progression number 1, the pike push-up. So to do this progression, you're going to set up on the floor in a push-up position with your hands just outside shoulder width. You're then going to step forward, keeping your hands where they are until you reach and make an L shape with your body. You might lack some hamstring flexibility, so you might not be able to make that perfectly straight L shape position for the pike push-up. That's okay, you can bend your knees a little to take the stress off your hamstrings, but make sure you're stretching and working on your hamstrings during this workout, because you don't want to be doing these calisthenics movements with tight hamstrings. It's going to hold you back a lot, and it's important in a lot of movements such as the pike push-up. So now that we're set up for the pike push-up, we're now going to descend into the bottom of the movement. And guys, make sure during these eccentric phases where we're slowly going down into the bottom of the movement, you go as slow and as controlled as we can, because we want our shoulders and our triceps to be under as much time and tension as we can get them to be under. So make sure you go slowly, and then once you hit the bottom of the movement, again, you'll notice because your forearm and your upper arm will make a 90-degree angle, and then you explode back up, fully extending through your triceps, pushing through your shoulders into the top of the movement. Now you want to make sure as you straighten out your arms and reach the top of the movement again, you want to fully extend through your shoulders. Now, what do I mean by that? Simply put, fully extending through your shoulders just means you get your arms and your shoulders in line with your upper back. A simple way to do this is while in the movement, you just look back behind you and push into the floor, fully extending and trying to get your arms in line with your upper back as far as they can go. You'll feel this in your posterior deltoids. You really feel them light up in this. When you do this, this is going to work your posterior deltoids, which will help pull you back into that straight handstand when you do the handstand push-up. So it's really important you do this. So again, you fully extend through your shoulders, just look behind you and really try and extend and straighten out your arms, as well as keep them in line with your upper back. So if you've never heard of that tip before, leave a like down below and subscribe for more, because we're giving out tips on this channel that I don't hear people talk about on YouTube. I'm taking my experience of things that I don't hear people say, but I figured out for myself, and giving those to you guys, so you guys don't have to go through the effort of trying to figure figure out what does he mean when he says extend through his shoulders. Like, I've heard people say that, it didn't make sense to me until I had to figure it out and spend time on my own. But on this channel, I'm saving you guys time. So if you like that, please subscribe. And anyway, let's carry on with the progressions. You'll know it's time to move on from the pike push-up progression when you get 15 reps per set of this exercise. So trust me, you want to get a high number of reps, build up that endurance and strength in the shoulder, because trust me, you're going to need it for the next progression. Now, if pike push-ups are too hard for you and you can't do those yet, then do Hindu push-ups first and then work your way to pike push-ups. Progression number 2, the elevated pike push-up. So as you can probably guess, the elevated pike push-up is just the upgrade to the pike push-up. So all that's happening here is we're elevating our feet by putting them onto something like a stool or chair, and then we're going to do the same thing we did in the pike push-up. So we're going to go down into the bottom of the movement, controlling this using our triceps, having our elbows pointed backwards behind us, and then once we hit the bottom of the movement, which we know will be 90 degrees with our arms, we're then going to straighten out our arms, fully lock them out, and extend through and push through our shoulders by, again, using that tip we said before, looking behind us. We're then going to do this for reps. You'll know it's time to move on from the elevated pike push-up when you get to 10 to 15 reps. Again, we're aiming for that higher rep range because it's such an intense exercise, the handstand push-up, that we want to build that endurance and that strength in your shoulder girdle and all the muscles surrounding, like the triceps here. Progression number 3, the handstand push-up negative. So quickly, I'm going to explain how to do the handstand push-up negatives, but then after that, I've got 3 hacks for you, so stay tuned, that are going to completely change the way you do handstand push-ups, and that actually push my reps up by 2 to 3 reps I gained by just employing these 3 hacks. But so stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you those right after explaining how to do handstand push-up negative. So to perform the handstand push-up negative, it's quite simple. All we're going to do is we're going to kick up into a handstand, then we're just going to do the negative of the handstand push-up. And of course, we already know the form for the handstand push-up, so we're just going to do that first descent. So we're just going to point our elbows backwards, slowly descend into the bottom of the movement, then we're going to stop and hold at 90 degrees for a couple of seconds, then we're just going to let our legs down and we're going to fall down. We're then going to kick up into a handstand and do this for reps. So to move on from handstand push-up negatives, we're going to keep going and build up the strength until we can get enough reps per set until we're able to get the positive of the movement. So this might be around 8 to 10 reps of the handstand push-up negatives. Once you're able to get that, you might be able to get the positive, and that's when you can kind of switch over and start working on the freestanding handstand push-up. Now, 3 hacks, I hope you're ready. The first hack is a simple one, and that's make use of drop sets. So if you don't know what a drop set is when you do your first primary set, you get too tired, so you stop there, but then you go straight into several other sets without a break. However, these several other sets are easier in intensity, so you're doing or making the movement easier in some way. So for example, you can go from doing handstand push-up negatives straight into doing elevated pike push-ups. When you get too tired of that, you go straight into, without a break, going into pike push-ups. By doing this, you're going to boost your handstand push-up progression by tenfold. Trust me, this is the one you want to use. The second hack is to put your hands out a bit. So when you set up to do the handstand push-up or whatever variation you're doing, try putting your hands slightly wider, maybe not super wide, but just an inch or so. This actually was able to get my handstand push-ups up by 2 or 3 reps just by putting my hands out wider. Now, when you first start, of course, I'd say that keep them in a bit so you work your triceps a lot. You want your triceps to be really strong. But then once you're starting to progress and start hitting that wall, you're starting to plateau, then I'd say try taking it wider and mess with the hand position so you find your strongest hand position, and mine was actually slightly wider than shoulder width. So play around with the hand position, try slightly wider. The final hack, guys, is your fingers. So don't have them on the floor directly flat, have them a bit creased, a bit like you're trying to grab onto the floor. By doing this, you're going to give yourself leverage to push onto the floor, and it's going to make you easier to push back or forward in the handstand, so you're going to be more stable. That means you're going to be able to push into the floor harder with more power, and that's going to apply to your handstand push-up and get you more reps. So by doing this, I'm always doing this whenever I'm doing a handstand push-up. This helps me get more reps in and hold the handstand for longer. So guys, use these tips and progressions, and in no time, your gym crusher is going to be staring at you, either in awe because you're busting out 10 reps of handstand push-ups, or because you just kicked up into a handstand and fell straight over. it happens sometimes. Now guys, click here for this video because if you're skinny or high metabolism person struggling to put on muscle mass, this video is going to help you out. Now click down here to subscribe. I've been the Jack Vegan and I'll see you guys in the next one.